Hi there, you're watching the Gardens and Graveyards channel. Today we're in the medicine garden and we're going to begin putting down mulch and compost throughout the garden. So probably the month of May will be the month of mulch. So the first thing you have to do is clean up all of the weeds that are in the beds so you're not just composting or mulching right over them. It just gives everybody a better chance to do what we want them to do. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you the weeds that we have to deal with, and then we'll show you the compost that we got. All right, so this is the medicine garden. And in this lower tier, you could see all of this brownish green stuff is all moss. And then we have some volunteer baby ferns over there. All of that is going to get pulled up. Up in this section, there's some bindweed, some more moss, and there's bitter cress everywhere as well. The upper tier that rolls into the front yard has a lot of buttercup in it. So, but the Ajaga is doing a really good job taking over. We're just gonna get whatever we can out of there. Let's see what else is in here. We've got dandelions, bitter cress. We don't want those things in here. Right. Then over on this side, there's some bitter cress. There's some horsetail that comes up in these beds, which in the medicine garden we remove the horsetail. We let it just naturally grow over there. Yeah. The succulent bed needs to be a little bit cleaned up. And we need to kill that holly. Yeah. Because it was a giant tree that we cut down and it keeps sprouting. And I keep thinking maybe I'll get some winter berries out of it. No. But I think it needs to be like bigger or more established. We can't just keep cutting on it and expecting berries. So at this point, I'd rather just get rid of the whole thing and plant a smooth leaf holly somewhere else on the property. So yeah, that's basically what we're doing, is just finding weeds that we don't want in here. And that way we can compost. Okay, so we've got our raised beds all cleaned out, and the oregano was cut down, and the thyme was cut down, and it's all clean and ready for the next season. So we got these 3 tiers totally composted, and one over there. It's getting late and we are done for the day. The weeding took a lot out of us. It wasn't as bad as it has been in some years, but you know, it's still weeding. So tomorrow morning we'll finish these tiers on the other side, and I'll tell you a little bit more about the compost and why we chose compost over bark mulch. Would you look at all that color? I am so excited that it's spring. It's looking so good. All right, so part of our compost project is we went ahead and started composting from this barrel all the way to the sidewalk there. We left this strip open because that's gonna have bark mulch. So I use compost in this area because we have a ton of blue star creeper. See all the little green in here? That's a very, very low growing ground cover that, you know, I can't mulch over, and it does need some nutrition. So compost is the best solution for that. And yeah, I think it just looks absolutely beautiful. The candy tuft or Iberis, oh my gosh, it pops against that dark compost so well. All right, and then over here, I did compost some of this area, just trying to get this ajuga to take off. And on this side, again, we have a pretty large patch of the blue star creeper, and it's a little bit dormant right here. It always goes a little bit dormant in the winter time, but with the compost, it'll be really happy to grow on that low growing ground cover over the compost. Is easy for it to crawl over and root in. All right, so without the sun beating down on these beds, you could see a much more clear picture of all the dark compost and all the tiers. And let's see, I have look at that. It looks so beautiful, all composted. I've got it all weeded out. It's all composted, and you can really see all the plants that are meant to be in there. And this little section right here, it looks kind of spotty, and that's because, again, it's a super low growing ground cover in there. And I just want to give it some nutrition, and I put it thicker on spots that are barren so that either the ground cover can crawl over it, or it at least will prevent weeds. And then the rest of the tiers got weeded out and composted. Looks terrific. Also to note, in this lower bed, I have the one type of chamomile that I transplanted from the backyard, and another kind of chamomile that I transplanted. Both are doing really well, so I think we're gonna have a good chamomile harvest this year. This section of ground cover is elfin thyme and Corsican mint, as well as some sedums.